Good
Oh,
morning,
wow.
everybody. I see all the good mornings in the chat panel. Looks like you guys are awake and alive and ready to get this thing rolling this morning. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here for MLS listing input. It's probably one of the most necessary classes of all the classes. You guys are required when you join the multiple listing service to take the MLS compliance course. That's a great class. It lets you know what the rules and regulations are, but those rules and regulations that you learn about in that class are directly related to how you enter listings into the MLS. Adding and editing listings in the MLS starts with data collection. And collecting listing data is key, and it's really the most important part of the job, because once you collect that data, pretty easy, once you kind of know where to go and what to do to enter that information into the MLS. But before you enter a listing into the MLS, I highly recommend that you have your listing agreement signed. That actually is a requirement. In order to assist you in collecting the data, we do have a residential profile sheet that you can print off. So let's just jump into the MLS right now. Once you jump into this dashboard in the MLS, you're going to be looking for your external links widget. And then we're going to be looking for the profile sheets. So you'll notice there are profile sheets for every single listing type that you would be entering into the MLS. We're going to be demonstrating entering a residential listing into the MLS today. So I am just going to click on that residential profile sheet. This is something that you guys should do as well. And I recommend that when you do, you go ahead and click that download button and save this document to your computer so that you can print it off and take it with you when you're going on the listing appointment. Now, as I will show you, as I'll demonstrate in today's class, a lot of the legal information, the property ID number, the address, and a lot of information is going to be pulled into the listing automatically for you if you enter the listing the way I'm going to show you how to do it today. Features and a lot of other information is not automatically entered. And that's where this form will really come in handy, because aside from worrying about entering the property ID number and all of that information on this form, if you scroll through this form, it's going to allow you to see all of the questions that you're going to be asked when you're entering this listing. So you'll see all of the features that are available. And it's a great idea to have this with you on the listing appointment, because you can go over this form with your seller, because they're going to be the best source of information to help you fill in this form and collect all of the available data that you can. The data collection piece, I cannot overstate the importance of it. First and foremost, as the listing agent, you are responsible for the information that you enter into the MLS about a listing. So you're responsible for that accuracy of the listing data, but you're also responsible to ensure that the listing is as complete as possible. So you'll notice here on the form, some of these fields, let me just scroll up just a little bit. Some of these fields, like status type, for example, you'll notice it's in bold type and it's underlined. Those are required fields when you're entering a listing into the MLS. But you'll notice you'll come to other fields, like bedroom description, for example, that are not necessarily required. But just because information isn't required doesn't mean you should not enter it into your listing. And that's important because you want your listing to be found. You never ever know what criteria a buyer's rep might be entering to search for listings. And you want to ensure that your listing shows up when those buyer's agents are running those searches for those auto emails and all of that criteria that they enter to help their buyers find that perfect house. If you leave information off of your listing, then there's a good chance that you have a listing that would work for a buyer, but if you didn't enter the information in the listing form, then your listing is not going to be found. And it may simply be because it's not a required field. But if you've taken my MLS Basic class, you know that when you're searching for listings, you can add fields to your search form. Every single field that's available in this listing form is available to be added to your search. So again, I cannot overstate the importance of getting accurate data and getting thorough, as much data as possible when you're entering a listing. It only just takes a few more minutes and it can make the difference in whether or not your listing is found. Assuming we've already collected all of our information and we're ready to enter the listing, we're just going to go right up here to input and give that a click. And then right here under input where it says listings, we're going to click add new. As I mentioned, we're going to be entering a residential listing, but just for clarification, you also have residential income. This would be, just say you have both sides of a villa, or as some people refer to it as a duplex or a triplex, even a quadruplex, and you're selling the entire building, not just a single unit. That would be residential income. Residential rentals would go under this listing form here. Your vacant land would go under lot and land. And of course, your commercial listings. Then you've got boat docks. And then you see residential comp sold input. If you should ever sell a listing that is not entered in our MLS, then you can actually come into our MLS and select residential comp sold input and enter that listing. You might want to do that for a couple of reasons. And first of all, why wouldn't it be in the MLS? Well, there could be any number of reasons. It could be out of our area, or it could simply be that it was a FSBO or for sale by owner listing, but you want to ensure that you get statistical credit for the sale, number one. But you also, it's just a good practice, if it is in our area, to go ahead and enter it for comp purposes. All right, so we're going to go ahead and select residential listing input. Now, this is where the rubber meets the road with regard to how easy it's going to be to enter your listing. The default method is already up here. You don't have to do anything. You can see that you have three choices. Fill from real estate tax. That's what we always want to do every time we can. The other options are to fill from cross property, and that would be where we would be entering the information and pulling it up from where the listing had previously been entered into the MLS. Or we could start with a blank listing form, and that would make our job really, really hard. And there are occasions where you may have to do that. We're going to keep it simple today and go over the best way to do it. And the best way to do it is to fill from real estate tax. So the first thing you want to do, and remember from MLS Basic, those yellow fields, when you see yellow fields, they're required. So you'll want to select your county. And from there, if you keep it simple and fill from real estate tax, which is already pre-selected for you, then all you have to do is enter your street number and your street name. Street type or anything else. You can enter the unit number if you're entering a condo. And now we're just going to click search. This is the correct property, and I'm going to go ahead and select fill.